This is architect Ramanjyot from SAL School of Architecture. Today I am not going to give you a lecture, but going to share my experiences with you, which I think from the first year only we need to inherit. I remember when I entered the first year long ago, all of my batchmates along with me were taken to an historical site with sketchbooks in the hands and half a dozen pencils of different grades and were asked to sketch. I know you all must have experienced the same and maybe experiencing right now. Still remember, our professor said, go and read the building. He said, read the building. It's not a book that we can read. They started looking at the building. He said, don't look, see the building. We were like, seeing a building? Couldn't find the difference. What is the difference between seeing or looking? So we spent a lot of time there waiting for our professor to explain the difference between both the things. At last he explained, Marketplace, as an architect, you appreciate its architecture, decode its style, try to find the history and the process of its evolution. This is the way to see the building. Yes, this is the way, and this is the way to read the building. Let me share with you the slideshow so that I'm able to make you understand what I'm. I hope the screen is clear. Yeah. Now, what do you see? Taj Mahal. Everyone knows that this is a Taj Mahal. But we need to study the geometry out of it, or we are going to study the symmetry out of it. The answer is we are not here to study the geometry or symmetry. We are here to find the way certain proportionate systems which were followed while everything was brought down eventually to human dimensions. Everything, the carvings, the sculptures, overall temple, wherever, yeah, whatever is a human effort, and that impression is everywhere. That is what we architects here to find out. The classic method of understanding a space is by breaking down the entire journey into a sequence of multiple thresholds. And I tell you, this is still the best way one can make sense of a building. And in the same sense, we always say that architecture is something which is organic because that is produced by human hands. I'm not talking here about industrial architecture. Here I'm talking about architecture where human hands are involved. Entire old construction is work of art. It is human because human hand has tremendous relationship with the creator. That is why to read that we need to use these hands and the sketching is done. These are the sketches of the same buildings which I showed you previously. Sketching is very important medium for students of architecture. Unless you sketch, you will never be able to read a building, can never be able to express. That type of rigor should be developed. Sketching makes you see the object, not only look at the object. Synthesizing into mind and transforming through hands is the real essence. Understand and appreciate the building. This is called reading a building. I'll share with you the method, what he explained us to sketch. While sketching, Measure the dimension like a painter who measures the face of the object in portrait. Taking a pencil, okay, and the pencil would actually aim at the object and then turn the thumb upward down and take the dimension what you see on your pencil, and then you mark on the sketch. This is how you dimension the actual object from real object to your sketch. Then you hardly go wrong, because what you see with the cone of your eye, which you really measure by the bar of this kind of thumb rule, you rarely go wrong. This was the method doing to make the sketch. And then if the building is measured, the dimensions, height versus span, then our professor used to say that it will be 10 mm difference. It will have 10 mm difference on actual dimensions. So try it once. And one more thing. That is the reason we go for the trips. We go for the RSPs. Why? We travel. Because traveling is a very important learning process in architecture. One can learn a lot of things by exploring new places and spaces. And if we truly want to capture this essence, then we need to understand the fact that is more of an experience through it rather than just the outward experience of it. Sketch. Always keep a pencil and a plain paper pad with you while traveling, or a graph paper with you. But for the past couple of years, I know this has really been very difficult to visit the buildings due to the pandemics. Everyone knows about it. During this period, there has been dearth of exploration for students. Then you couldn't, because you were not able to come out of the four walls of your houses. Also, this has caused an upsurge in the difficulty in association and imagination for them. So, what to do? Shall we end up the sketching? No. We have to explore different ideas or how to sketch from distance. So, snap and sketch is the new method. It is an attempt to primarily identify and study the marvels of architecture when we are not able to visit that place, see that place, touch that place. So, snap and sketch, that is photograph and drawing, through which the buildings would be looked, studied, and read. Now, the question is how to do that? Be a painter. Dissect the photograph you need to explain and understand, like the painter of the painting. You have to analyze the painting in terms of proportion, composition, beauty, and justification for the object in terms of proportion studies and overall frame of the painting. And if the particular capture in the camera appears to be deep and beautiful, there must be inherent reason for that. Find that reason. Now, in order to communicate this, there are 3 photographs taken by the photographer of the same building. This is the first one, second one, and the third one. Now, in order to communicate this, while taking photos through photographer's own eyes, he has certain types of inner understanding of why he particularly liked that frame. This understanding has the value behind it. Try to find it. every photographer, when he looks to the monuments with his own eyes, have certain aspects to appreciate, which are subconsciously seen. Whenever you appreciate something, that is out of your subconscious mind, and many times you can't reason it out. But as an architect, our job is to find justification as to between these images why I like one more than the other. There is something more than a mere capture. We have to draw from these photographs. We have to decipher the photographs. I selected this photograph because this is number one on an eye level, and secondly, it has human scale for comparing. Snap and sketch is a wonderful idea, but attitude towards this has to be extremely careful while working out. Now, if you see, firstly, you have to observe. Once you observe it sensitively, you analyze, you try to discover, you recognize, you categorize your observation. Then you have a curiosity in your mind, and then imagine, translate your observations to drawings. Think over it, and then compose this by deciphering these pieces of information into a collective manner. This is the way to look at the building. Right? Now, snap and sketch is a wonderful idea, but attitudes towards this has to be extremely carefully worked out because it can open up entirely new way of seeing at a building and try to grasp its making, and we can understand this by drawing. You have to follow the construction stages which mark the process of the building. Now, if you see at this building, we have tried to take that part section on this graph paper and try to give the value as x. Right? Now, if you see this, with the proportionate to x, all other dimensions have been formulated. Can you see that? Yeah. And I tried to bring this photograph on the graph paper by fixing the stages of process on a particular scale. If you see the building, every time the craftsmen finish one stage, this stage, see this line, slope, where the slope ends, this line. Every time the craftsmen finish one stage of a building, they look almost complete. In today's building, you'll look for oval of completion. Each stage you see will never see complete. That is why in old monuments, each stage is seen as something which is complete. This stage, and even the dome is there or not, it hardly makes any difference. It still seems complete out here. It seems complete out here. It seems complete out here. Each stage is seen as something which is complete, and then they begin with something which is another something, which is still another something. Something where form changes, and then it comes to completion. See at the building where the slope ends, the second stage starts. This is actually that transition peak. In this case, We have taken one column. The foremost thing is to find the dimension of the building unit which was put together to get this pattern on the column. Now you see, firstly, the base of the column was there. Then then the pyre was erected, and again the detail here, and then the capital. The basic unit of the building block, that is the governing thing. Now you see at this. Take the example of this wall carving. Draw the profile of the wall detail, starting from the ground upward, layer by layer, as it is constructed. You have to be very careful when deciphering the photograph. If you look at the processes, how these buildings have come up, the craftsmen never went by a pre-decided process. A craftsman, they rarely drew, maybe simply drew one pattern, that too at a full scale, maybe on a stone, and then given to other carvers to build this type of block, and assembling was achieved. But they are so skillful that you can never find the joint. See this, you cannot find the joint. You cannot find the joint. That's why it is so rich, because no two craftsmen were following the same thing. If you consciously observe these buildings, there are many variations and many times. Now you can just have a look. These are so many details in one detail. There are so many variations, which can also tell the number of craftsmen who had been working on these buildings. If you look at these buildings, you'll hardly see any two carvings that will be same. See this. No two carvings are same, because it is beyond human capacity to produce two equal things. We as human beings cannot reproduce anything in the exactly same manner. So this is the way we tried to put it again on the graph. Again, the reference point is X, and the way how it is being built in the stages, accordingly we have marked it. Now this X scale can differ person to person. I have taken two graphs as X. You can take 4, you can take 5. And this is how you detail up from the snaps without having any dimensions. Also, this is one way of going for these details, and we had gone for a small workshop where pressed thermocol was being used by the students, and the carving of the same details which I have shown you here. Small parts of these details were taken by the students, and then it was carved on that pressed thermocol, and then cubes of 10 were made. Cement concrete was poured in it, and this type of thing was the outcome of this. This is the process of knowing the details in a much better way. See this. This is the way how these students have cut on the thermocol, and then when CC is poured into that, this type of details came out after they got dried up. So I hope this will definitely going to help you out in doing the sketching, in seeing the building, in reading a building, and definitely I tell you, this is going to be a very great thing for the generation of ours to make you understand, to make us know the processes, the evolution of the object, of the building. And I hope you all will like this video of mine, and Any doubt, if you people have, do write to me. Thank you so very much, and have a good day ahead. Thank you.